Okay, it's the June tutorial. There's quite a few questions. Let's get started here with the Pythagorean trig problem. They tell you that 2 cos x equals 1. Well, if you divide both sides by 2, they're telling you that the cos of this angle, whatever it is equal to a half. And then they say that root 2 sine y is equal to minus 1. Well, if you divide by root 2, they're saying the sine is negative 1 over root 2. So we know the sine is negative. We know the cosine's positive. That can only be the fourth quadrant. And they even told you that it is in the fourth quadrant between 270 and 360 degrees. You've got two different angles. One's x. So let's start with x. And all you do is build a triangle in the fourth quadrant, with the horizontal being part of the right-angled triangle. You know that cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so you know that's 1 over 2. Well, the other side you can figure out with Pythagoras. What you do is you go 2 squared minus 1 squared, and you square root it. 4 minus 1 is 3, root 3 by Pythagoras. You can even write this down and do it in your head, but that's how you can show on a calculator that it works. Well, let's go over here. The sine is opposite over hypotenuse. The opposite is minus 1, and the hypotenuse is root 2. Well, there you go. There's your picture. The problem is you're supposed to figure out what this value is here, that's 1. And if you square the hypotenuse and you subtract it from the other short side squared, and then take the square root, you'll get the answer. Well, root 2 squared is 4, minus negative 1 squared is 1. Root 2 squared isn't 4. Well, root 2 squared is the square root of 4. Root 2 squared, the square root and the square cancel each other, and you just get 2. Minus, this is just 1. 2 minus 1 is 1, and the square root of 1 is 1. This is 1 by Pythagoras. And if you think 1 squared plus minus 1 squared, square root it, it works. It works. Okay, now you have to have your special triangles. These are drawings of the special triangles, where the cosine is 1 over root 2, and the sine is minus 1 over root 2. And this must be negative 45 degrees. That must be the value of y. And this is minus 60 degrees, where the cosine's a half, plus 60 up here, but minus 60 gives you the same answer, 1 over 2. So the angle x is minus 60. When you add them together, you get minus 105 degrees. That's the answer to the first one. The next question just asks about y. Just asks about this angle y here. Well, we know what the cosine of y is. It's 1 over root 2. And then we're supposed to square it. So just do that. 1 over root 2 squared. We know the tangent of 45 degrees. Negative 45 degrees. It's negative 1 over 1, because we're getting tangent here. Negative 1 over 1 from my picture here. But we're supposed to square it. Well, just square this. Well, that's just equal to 1. 1 over root 2 times 1 over 2 is a half. You tip in times. 2 times 1 plus 1. The answer's 3. Well, there's the first Pythag question. All done.